Few stories in Hollywood's current cultural landscape have sparked as much controversy and discussion as Disney's live-action remake of Snow White. Rather than bringing fresh life to the beloved fairy tale, the film has become embroiled in a burgeoning cultural debate. Rachel Ziggler, who plays the titular princess, and Gadot, who plays the evil queen, have both been under intense media scrutiny. The reported tensions between Gadot and Disney and Ziggler's comments about the film have made headlines. The idea that GDAU would penalize Disney for how it handled the criticism of the movie's woke direction has gained a lot of attention. What happened behind the scenes of Snow White? Did GDAU criticize Disney for the direction the movie took? How did Rachel Ziggler's participation heighten the controversy? Let's look at the dynamics that have shaped this narrative, as well as how it represents broader Hollywood trends and their potential effects on actors' careers and the entertainment business as a whole. The woke debate, a closer examination of Snow White's redesign. Disney has been working hard in recent years to give its classic assets a modern twist, from Mulan to The Little Mermaid. So it was not surprising that the entertainment giant decided to retell the Snow White fairy tale as a more progressive and modern tale. Disney's live-action remakes have welcomed female storylines, more inclusive casting, and a departure from conventional plots that center on romance. Fulfillment in Snow White, Disney aimed to modernize its oldest princess, originally brought to life in the 1937 animated feature. The film reportedly promised to ditch the storyline where Snow White dreams of being rescued by a prince. Instead, this updated version would see her as a self-reliant character with a focus on leadership and independence. Disney's decision to reimagine Snow White as part of their live-action adaptations was initially viewed as a bold move, designed to reflect modern sensibilities and provide a fresh take on an old classic. However, what began as a seemingly progressive step quickly turned into a lightning rod for controversy. Critics accused Disney of prioritizing woke values over the essence of the beloved characters and stories. This criticism intensified when Colombian-American actress Rachel Zegler was cast as Snow White. As the public face of the film, Zegler became a focal point for the backlash, with her comments about the original Snow White's portrayal and the direction of the new film drawing significant ire. Ziggler, an up-and-coming star in Hollywood, was excited about playing such an iconic role. However, her enthusiasm for the film's new direction, which emphasized feminist themes and shifted away from traditional story elements, sparked discontent among many fans. In particular, Ziggler's statements about the 1937 version of Snow White being outdated, as well as her comments about the character's feminist transformation, struck a nerve. During one interview, Ziggler remarked that this new version of Snow White would not be waiting for her prince, hinting at a more independent and empowered portrayal. For Ziggler, these changes represented a necessary evolution in the portrayal of Disney princesses, aligning with modern values of female empowerment and agency. Yet, not everyone saw it that way. Many fans of the original Snow White, particularly traditionalists, viewed these changes as a betrayal of the fairy tale they had grown up with. To them, the classic story held a timeless charm, and altering it to fit modern trends felt unnecessary, even disrespectful. Zegler's comments about the original Snow White being dated were perceived by some as dismissive, which fueled further resentment. What might have been intended as a celebration of progress was seen by critics as an erasure of beloved traditions, and this sparked a wider debate about the role of cultural updates in classic storytelling. On social media, Zegler's remarks were often taken out of context and amplified by critics who accused her of being too outspoken and aligning herself with what they saw as Hollywood's increasing detachment from mainstream audiences. In the eyes of these critics, Ziggler had become the embodiment of a broader cultural shift they were uncomfortable with, one where the desire to modernize and diversify was overshadowing the original magic and charm of classic stories. Accusations of pandering to current political trends flew thick and fast, and soon Ziggler found herself at the heart of a much larger cultural clash between progressive and traditional values in Hollywood. While Ziggler bore the brunt of the backlash, another prominent figure in the project, Gal Gadot, also garnered attention, albeit for different reasons. Known globally for her portrayal of Wonder Woman, Gadot is a symbol of female strength and empowerment, and her casting as the evil queen in Snow White naturally drew speculation. However, unlike Ziggler, Gadot managed to stay relatively out of the direct line of fire. Some speculated that her silence on the matter was a strategic move, allowing her to maintain distance from the controversy. While Zegler's outspoken enthusiasm for the film's feminist themes attracted criticism, Gadot's quieter approach seemed to shield her from the same level of scrutiny. This difference in public perception sparked conversations about how Hollywood stars navigate controversy and whether silence is a safer strategy when caught in the middle of cultural debates. At the heart of this controversy lies a broader question: how much should classic stories be changed to reflect modern values? For many, Disney's decision to revamp Snow White was an exciting opportunity to make the character more relevant for today's audiences, offering a fresh perspective on a tale that had long been rooted in outdated gender norms. However, for others, the film represented yet another example of Hollywood abandoning beloved stories in favor of current political trends. This clash of perspectives has only grown louder as Disney continues to update its roster of animated classics, with each new adaptation igniting similar debates. Rachel Zegler's involvement in the Snow White remake placed her at the center of a broader cultural debate about the role of tradition versus progress in storytelling. While her remarks were meant to highlight the positive changes being made to the character, they instead became the focal point for those resistant to such changes. For Ziggler, this experience has been a double-edged sword. On one hand, she is playing an iconic role in a major film, but on the other, she is caught in the crossfire of a culture war she never intended to ignite. Snow White's remake may succeed or fail depending on how well it balances tradition and progress. Empowerment on screen. Her role as the evil queen in Snow White was highly anticipated, and many believed that her casting would bring star power and gravitas to the production. However, rumors began circulating that Gadot was unhappy with how Disney had handled the backlash surrounding the film. According to some reports, Gadot was reportedly frustrated. Disney's decision to embrace a more progressive or woke direction for their live-action remake of Snow White was bound to spark debate. The company's attempt to modernize the beloved 1937 classic with a focus on feminist themes and diverse casting may have been well-intentioned, but it also alienated a significant portion of the audience. Many traditionalists felt that Disney was abandoning the essence of the story in favor of current political trends. This backlash became most visible with the casting of Colombian-American actress Rachel Zegler, who found herself at the center of the controversy. However, Gal Gadot, who played the evil queen, managed to avoid much of the public scrutiny, fueling speculation about her more neutral stance and what it meant for the overall project. Ziggler's comments about Snow White being outdated, as well as her enthusiasm for the character's transformation into a more feminist figure, did not sit well with some audiences. In interviews, she openly discussed how the new version of Snow White wouldn't be waiting for her prince to save her, emphasizing the character's newfound independence. Ziggler's remarks were meant to reflect Disney's broader effort to reshape the portrayal of women in their films, moving away from the damsel in distress trope to showcase stronger, more self-sufficient female characters. However, many longtime fans of the original Snow White viewed these changes as unnecessary, and some even saw them as a betrayal of the classic fairy tale. On social media, Zegler's comments were taken out of context, further intensifying the backlash. Conservative critics, in particular, felt that Disney was pandering to progressive audiences at the expense of the story's core values. They accused the company of prioritizing political correctness over the timeless charm and magic that had made the original so beloved. For these fans, Snow White was more than just a story, it was a cherished piece of childhood nostalgia. Altering it to reflect modern sensibilities was seen as diminishing its legacy. Ziggler, as the face of the film, bore the brunt of these criticisms, with many accusing her of being too outspoken about the project's feminist direction. While Ziggler found herself in the middle of this controversy, her co-star Gal Gadot took a different approach. Unlike Ziggler, who was vocal in promoting the progressive changes in the film, Gadot remained relatively silent during the promotional campaign. This lack of engagement raised eyebrows, with some media outlets speculating that her silence was a form of protest. As a globally recognized star with significant influence, Gadot's decision to not comment on the more controversial aspects of the film did not go unnoticed. Some insiders suggested that Gadot, who is known for her role as Wonder Woman, a symbol of female empowerment, might have been uncomfortable with the way Disney handled the backlash and the attention it brought to the project. While there is no definitive evidence of a rift between Gadot and Disney, her silence has fueled speculation that she may not have been entirely on board with the film's direction. Gadot's neutral stance, in contrast to Ziggler's outspoken defense of the film, has led some to believe that she was strategically distancing herself from the controversy. This approach allowed her to maintain her public image without being dragged into the cultural debate surrounding the movie. Given her established status in Hollywood, Gadot's silence may have been a deliberate choice to avoid further fueling the controversy, leaving Zegler to navigate the storm largely on her own. The tension surrounding Snow White and the rumored differences in approach between Gadot and Disney reflect a much larger issue facing Hollywood today. Over the past decade, the entertainment industry has increasingly embraced progressive values, leading to more inclusive representation and diverse storytelling. The films and television shows now highlight underrepresented groups, challenge traditional gender norms, and push boundaries in terms of race, gender, and sexual identity. While these changes have been praised by many as long overdue, they have also sparked significant backlash, particularly from more conservative audiences. Critics argue that Hollywood's embrace of progressive values often feels forced and inauthentic, driven more by a desire to appear politically correct than by organic shifts in storytelling. They accuse the entertainment industry of alienating mainstream audiences by prioritizing inclusivity over the entertainment value and integrity of the stories being told. This debate has become especially prominent in Disney's live-action remakes, where each new release seems to bring bolder changes to the original stories. Some of these remakes, such as The Little Mermaid starring Halle Bailey, have been praised for offering fresh perspectives and providing representation for underrepresented groups. Others, however, like Snow White, have faced criticism for straying too far from the source material. The reimagined feminist narrative of Snow White was seen by some as a step too far, deviating from the heart of the original story to fit modern political trends. Fans of the classic fairy tale felt that the new version lost the magic that had made the original so enduring. The backlash surrounding Snow White highlights the deepening divide in Hollywood's ongoing culture wars. As the entertainment industry continues to push for more inclusivity and progressive values, it is also contending with a growing sense of alienation from parts of its audience. For Disney, navigating this divide has proven to be increasingly challenging. While the company's efforts to modernize its classic tales are intended to reflect the changing times, they are also met with resistance from those who feel that these beloved stories should remain untouched. In the end, the controversy surrounding Snow White is emblematic of the broader cultural debate in Hollywood: how to balance progress with tradition, and how to tell inclusive, diverse stories without alienating core audiences. For Ziggler and Gadot, the film's reception has had very different consequences, with Ziggler caught in the crossfire and Gadot managing to stay relatively unscathed. As Disney continues to reimagine its iconic films, the tensions surrounding them are unlikely to subside anytime soon. Diverse casting and updated themes was always going to be controversial. The involvement of Ziggler and Gadot has only added fuel to this cultural fire. Did Gadot punish Disney? The notion that Gadot punished Disney by distancing herself from the promotion of Snow White is a powerful narrative, but the reality may be more nuanced. While it's clear that Gal Gadot's silence regarding the Snow White controversy has drawn significant attention, especially when compared to her co-star Rachel Zegler's vocal stance. While Ziggler has passionately defended the film's progressive direction, Gadot has chosen a more reserved approach. However, this does not necessarily indicate that Gadot was protesting Disney's choices. Known for her careful management of her public image, Gadot's silence could simply be a strategic move to avoid deepening the controversy. In Hollywood, public perception is everything, and Gadot has cultivated a reputation as a thoughtful, deliberate public figure. Given her status as a global star with iconic roles like Wonder Woman under her belt, she may have seen the Snow White controversy as something best left alone. Speaking out could have added fuel to the fire, potentially dragging her into a cultural debate that might not align with her brand or personal values. Her choice to remain silent, then, could be interpreted as an attempt to preserve her standing in the industry rather than a direct protest against Disney's direction for the film. That said, Hollywood stars do wield considerable influence over the narrative surrounding their projects. If Gadot was unhappy with how Disney handled the backlash or the film's feminist reimagining, her silence might be seen as a subtle form of protest. In the entertainment world, silence can be as powerful as a statement, especially when a star of Gadot's stature chooses not to engage in the public discourse surrounding a project. Her quiet support for the film has raised suspicions that she didn't like its direction. It's also worth noting that Gadot is at a point in her career where she can be selective with the roles she takes and the causes she champions. Her significant influence and global recognition give her the luxury of picking projects that align with her brand. Gadot may have been protecting her long-term career prospects by staying out of the Snow White controversy, ensuring that her image remains untarnished by the film's debate. In contrast, Rachel Zegler, a rising star, has been more outspoken as she tries to establish herself in Hollywood. Battles, but the silence of the GD has prompted inquiries. Rachel Zegler, a young, up-and-coming actress who is unapologetically progressive and willing to challenge conventional norms, is still at the heart of the Snow White controversy. However, this has also made her a target for those who believe Hollywood has lost touch with its core audience. Hollywood is pushing for more diverse and inclusive storytelling, and Ziggler's casting as Snow White is a reflection of this trend. On the other hand, actors like Ziggler find themselves at the forefront of a cultural war where their every statement and role can become a lightning rod for criticism. Ziggler's involvement in Snow White highlights the challenges faced by young actors navigating today's cultural landscape. The criticism directed at Ziggler isn't limited to her remarks or performance, rather. It reflects the larger conflicts in Hollywood between traditional and progressive ideals, as more movies and television programs accept woke stories. Even when performers like Ziggler are only carrying out their jobs as directed by the studios they work for, they are likely to encounter similar controversy.